you may implead them as defendants. You must write a paragraph in the plain. The plaintiff submits that something screening. Mansi or something you're doing. Yes. Now, some of the trustees may be out of station, so you need not panic. If you want to file a suit against a trust, or the trust is filing against somebody else, some trustees are out of station. You may implead them as defendant with a prayer that the plaintiff trust is a public trust within the meaning of the Bombay Public Trust Act. There are 10 trustees. Only 5 are filing the present suit. The remaining 5 have been joined as defendant without claiming any relief at the moment. But the plaintiff seeks liberty to join them back as plaintiff. That is the provision for Madam had asked me this one. In what cases parties can be, just exactly the word used is
Transposed.
under order, transposition.
Transposition.
So transposition. You can make an application, you can make mention averment in the plain that the plaintiff seeks liberty to transpose the defendant as plaintiff subsequently. But the suit must be filed by the plaintiff or against the defendant trust by joining everybody. Otherwise, suit is defective. Similarly, in the case of administrators under the Indian Succession Act, you know that the will is left behind. Only the suit can be filed. You can go for obtaining a probate. Only administrator can do that. When there is no administrator, you have to inform the court there is no administrator. The court may be pleased to permit to go for letters of administration. So when there is no administrator, you cannot go for a probate. So it doesn't mean not the end of the world. The beneficiary can tell the court there is no that I may be appointed as the executor, or I may be allowed to go for letters of administration. So that is the provision with regard to the trustees here. Please kindly go through them. Very important provision. Under the provisions of the Limitation Act, Section 10 says suits by or against the trustee, there is no limitation. Kindly open Section 10, Mansi, please. Section 10 is important. Got it here? Now, when you read this here, this kind of a suit doesn't get time-barred. Suppose if a trustee of a public trust misappropriating the money and gone and purchased big properties in his native place, and which you come to know after 20 years, 30 years. So you cannot say the defendant in the suit is barred because public at large should not be defeated. That is the object of this rule here. Now, in Kerala High Court judgment, it said that a suit filed by a wife against the husband for recovery of the article is also not barred by limitation. Normally, such suits are filed within 3 years under the Limitation Act. When there is no provision, you have to invoke the residuary clause under Article 137. The Kerala High Court took up the view that here a suit filed by a wife against the husband or in-laws can come under Section 10 because the in-laws and husband are acting as trustees in fiduciary capacity. Very interesting judgment. You must go to this. When you go in the Google, you come to know about this. Okay. Then we come to the other suit quickly, which will dispose it off here.
So I have a question.
Yeah, please ask me.
So under Order 27, can Bombay High Court say that you should exhaust your remedy and file a civil suit and writ petition is not maintainable?
Under Order 27 CPC, that is a friendly suit. You mean to say that? Suit but against government? Huh?
Yes, sir.
No. Because a suit is a more effective remedy, no? You cannot say writ petition, in fact, is a weak remedy. When you go for writ petition, the writ court will say that, say, extraordinary jurisdiction, there are disputed facts and questions, please go and file a suit. But a civil judge will not say that you go and writ petition. A civil suit is more stronger, more comprehensive than writ petition. A writ petition is filed only for enforcement of fundamental right under Article 226. Under Article 226, a writ of certiorari for quashing the orders of tribunal if they are ab initio void. So it is a very weak jurisdiction and good for fundamental right. And so far as suits are concerned, all disputed fact, all contentious issues, you are allowed to lead evidence. Normally in writ petition, 99% the court doesn't permit the leading evidence. They are decided on affidavits. There are rare cases where you can make application to the court that I would like to examine the deponent. Normally the writ court doesn't permit you to lead evidence, examination, chief cross-examination. It is not done. In the Supreme Court rule, there is a provision. You can, rarest of rare cases, you can do that. But suit is a strong remedy. Please note that compared to writ petition. Writ petition is a very, very weak remedy, which is maintainable. You have to file it only against the state under Article 12 of the Constitution, which you know that it is a respondent is a state or instrumentality of a state whose actions are amenable under Article 12 of the Constitution. Whereas a suit is concerned can be filed against any Tom, Dick and Harry. Can be against government, can be against parties, so private parties, anybody. There is no bar as such, unless there is a specific bar. But writ petition cannot be filed against private parties. You know that here. You cannot enforce your fundamental right against private citizen. That law is, writ petition cannot be filed by companies. Companies are not citizens. Only the directors can file it here. Those judgments you have learned under the provisions of Article 12 of the Constitution in the first year, that I won't trouble. Now,
Yes, sir.
Now we, yeah, anybody, yeah. Next we'll be dealing it here. Order 32 is important, which I cursorily dealt when I was drafting a plain, suit by against minors and persons of unsound mind. So as we learned while drafting a plain, you must mention a suit of a minor can only be filed by a person called a next friend. It may be uncle, it may be mama, it may be your kind of friend, it may be somebody else. If nobody, the court appoints somebody. So for enforcement of a till 18 years, you cannot file a suit, you are unable to understand. Though a minor can enter into a contract for the purpose of benefit, he can be a partner for the purpose of benefit, not for losses. Similarly, a suit can be filed by a minor only by a person called a next friend who should make averment in the plain. The name of the plaintiff is mentioned minor through his next friend, Mr. XYZ. एक averment रहेगा उसके अंदर stating that the plaintiff who is a next friend of the minor does not have any personal interest in the matter and does not have any adverse claim against the minor. The present suit is being filed only for enforcing the rights of the minor plaintiff in the matter. वो undertaking देना पड़ेगा आपको. Minor suit. And if the defendant is a minor, the suit cannot be filed against the minor defendant unless you appoint somebody, a guardian ad litem. You may tell the court, a guardian. So a guardian may be a family member, a non-family member, or with the permission the court can appoint somebody. So a person who is a defendant, who defends the suit on behalf of the minor, must make an averment. The defendant who is a guardian of the defendant is defending the present suit for protecting the rights and title interest of the defendant minor and does not have any interest adverse against the minor defendant. Then the provision, he has to give security. See, Order 32 Rule 2A ke andar, there is a security to be provided by next friend. Because he cannot get away and walk out and take a decree and enforce the decree, pocket money. That is why the court insists that here you give security, you give a bond, you give a bank guarantee. It may be several lakhs and crores of rupees in cities like Delhi, Calcutta, Madras and Mumbai, where the properties are very expensive. If you are seeking to evict a trespasser from minor's property, a flat at Malabar Hill will cost you not less than 20 crores. There's a likelihood of a decree being passed. The court may say that you give security or bank guarantee. These are the provision here. Then guardians are dealt under 32 Rule 3. This is a very interesting provision. Please go there. Otherwise, the suits are improper. The decree is not maintainable. Then another important provision is that here the also we spoke of persons of unsound mind. Somebody who is sick and bimar, mental problem, he also cannot file a suit. You have to invoke the provisions of Indian Mental Health Act. Under the Indian Mental Health Act, the civil surgeon will give a certificate that he is competent to file a suit or not. Now, under the Limitation Act, there is a provision made. Such people who are minors who cannot file the suit in time because within minority, and also persons of unsignment, which when they can file a suit, when there's a legal disability. Please see section 6 of the Limitation Act. Mansi, please open section 6, 7 of the Limitation Act. So bear in mind the provisions of section 6 of the Limitation Act while drafting a plan under the provisions of Order 32. Okay. After attaining majority, that time commences from the date of the attaining majority. And you have to make an amendment. Why you could not file a suit within time? Because he is exempted under section 6. There was a disability. He was a minor or suffering from insanity. He was an idiot. He was undergoing treatment for schizophrenia or maybe some mental ailment. Please remember the provisions of section 6 of the Limitation Act very clearly. Okay. Then let us come to suits relating to matters concerning family. Order 32A. Of course, this more or less in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, wherever Family Court Act is there, Family Court Act being a special act under section 7, it has exclusive jurisdiction. Okay. This Order 32A will be applicable to cases where there is no family court. So maybe places like remote villages where civil just senior division, junior division, a municipal court, or any part of India where there is no family court, how the family matters of divorce relating to custody of children, maintenance are filed in the procedure maintained here, and the proceeding to be held in camera, that provision is made under subclause 2. Then again subclause 3 says that the court to settle the matter invoking the principles enshrined in section 89, arbitration, conciliation, lok adalat is the procedure, and court can examine, see, sub rule may expert. Now in the family court you have got counselors who come. In the family court, as advocate cannot appear as a matter of right, he has to take the leave and permission of the court. Okay. Now these are the provisions relating to matrimonial suits which were earlier filed both in the Bombay High Court and City Civil Court and Civil Court. Now Bombay High Court still entertains suits for divorces, matrimonial problems of Parsis, because Parsis are under the Parsis Act, we have a jury system. The jury system is still continuing. Then all other matrimonial matters which were being tried under the Indian Divorce Act, even under the Muslim Marriage Act, they used to be in the High Court. They have been now transferred to Family Court in Mumbai. Other places, district court tries in Thane and all other places, district court places, wherever there is no family court. If there is a family court, goes to family court, except the Parsis. Okay, please remember this provision, very important family matter. Then 33 speaks of suits by indigent person, mean somebody who is unable to pay the court fees. Somebody on account of poverty. In Maharashtra, the maximum court fees under the Bombay Court Fees Act is 3 lakh rupees. 3 lakh is a substantial amount. Suppose your house is destroyed and damaged during monsoon, during the cyclonic weather, and your house, so robbers have come and rob, and neighbor has captured your property, a substantial property. You are not able to recover the property. You cannot pay. You don't have money. You are a poor person. You may be a farmer, or you have become, whatever reason, on account of the pandemic, all money is spent and gone. It doesn't mean that you cannot approach the court of law. There is a remedy available to you. You may tell the court here, I'm a pauper at the moment, I'm unable to pay the court fees. So please permit me to file the suit as an indigent person under Order 33, but with a give undertaking as soon as I become financially viable and pay the amount payable. In this proceeding, the court will hold inquiry because there are many people pretend to be paupers. There are unscrupulous person to take advantage not to pay the court fees before the court of law. So you under Order 7, Rule 11, padhe aapne. If the plaint is lodged without paying proper court fees, plaint can be rejected. So payment of a court fees is a condition precedent before the court take cognizance of a plaint. So if indigent person cannot say that he will not be able to approach the court. So the court makes a provision. So under Order 33, there will be inquiry held under 33(1)(a). Then examination hoga, cross-examination hoga. Then you ask for interim orders. Procedure is a lengthy procedure. The order passed under this provision is appealable provision. Please note that here. Then whatever permission granted, normally the Protonotary Senior Master High Court Bombay holds inquiry in the Bombay High Court, and in the Small Causes Court, City Civil Court, the judges themselves hold it, or the registrar holds the inquiry in this regard. The permission granted can be withdrawn no sooner the person is able to pay the amount here. So indigent person can approach the court. Like similarly, a writ petition, you cannot file writ petition remedy. You have to pay only 225 rupees, not a big amount, but you can also ask the court. Now, under the Bombay Court Fees Act, in matrimonial cases, the ladies are not required to pay. Even there's a judgment of Justice Chandrachud, beautiful judgment. Women who have been oppressed, who are subjected to vilification or domestic violence, they need not court fees. So those judgments you can check under the Bombay Court Fees Act. When you go in the Google, it is there here. Certain categories of people are exempted from paying the court fees, but not for claiming property from your siblings, from your parents, not a partition suit. Those suits are not exempted. Only matrimonial suits, there is an exemption, and domestic violence ke andar, there is an exemption in that regard, and persons who are unable to pay the amount here. Then Order 34 is very important.
Sir,
Order 34.
sir,
Yes.
may I ask a
How much
question?
time? Surely.
Sir, what if
Yes.
can a defendant take objection that now plaintiff is no more a pauper and he should pay the
Yes.
court fee?
Yes, that provision is the grant of payment of court fee. That provision, Order 33, you may see that here, that withdrawal, Rule 9 check karo. Withdrawal of permission to sue as an indigent person. Order 33, Rule 9. The court may, on the application of the defendant or the government pleader within 7 days notice, so and so, person may be withdrawn, that he is guilty of vexatious litigation, appears that he has got a man of means. So whatever permission granted to him earlier can be revoked.
No, but sir, can defendant as a matter of right raise this objection, or is it only between
Yes.
plaintiff and the court to be determined?
No, defendant can raise his objection in the written statement. You may take up the plea that here the present suit filed is not maintainable inasmuch as the plaintiff has obtained the permission surreptitiously. In fact, he is a man of means. I have got to show that he has a bank account so and so. I have taken, he has got property so and so, and the suit should be dismissed summarily on this ground. You can raise a plea with regard to maintainability of the suit on this ground. The court will frame the issue. It's a legal issue. Under Order 14, you say that here maintainability can be framed. The court can reject the claim. Okay, that can be done.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do we have time for other suits here? Order
Yes, sir,
34.
we have 15 minutes more.
Okay, I will cover up this suits under Order 34 relating to mortgages and immovable property. This is very important, important suits. Now that what kind of Transfer of Property Act mein padhe aapne, Section 58 dealt with mortgages, right? Section 60, Section 60 dealt with the right of the mortgager to redeem the mortgage. Just open Transfer of Property Act. Section 58 is a substantive provision. 58, mortgages of immovable property and charges. Bila 58. Okay. 58. Found it? Isn't it? Mortgages. Now please come to section 60. Order 34 to be read with section 60. That is right of mortgager to redeem. So if I am a property owner, I want to raise money, you are my good friend. I will tell you there's a marriage in my family, I want 10 lakh rupees. I am mortgaging my property, you please give me 10 lakh for a period of 1 year or 6 months. So I have a right to come and give the money, and if you don't return my property, I have a right to file a suit for a redemption under section 60. That is a chapter 34 ke andar. Then section 67 खोलिए TRIPI Act, right to foreclosure. Section 67, right of foreclosure and sale. Now this can be invoked by whom? By the mortgagee. That is the person who gave a loan to the mortgager. That the period of loan is expired. You took the loan for 10 years. Your title deeds are with me. I want you please return the money back and take the title deed back. Because he may not be interested in retaining the property. It has no value. Mortgager nahi aage badega. So he can file a suit, mortgagee, for foreclosure and sale. Section 67 read with order 34. Then please come to section 69. Power of the sale when valid. Now, without the intervention of the court, you can file, you can get the property in certain cases. When it is the English mortgage, you know that many people, those who purchase cars, taking a loan, hire purchase scheme, those people now the Supreme Court say that they need not go to court. There's a mortgage. The bank has a right to take the property back immediately. They can confiscate and take it here. Okay. Then please come to section 69A. 69A may appointment of a receiver. Now in a mortgage suit, either for redemption or for foreclosure or sale, receiver is a matter of course. Order 40 Rule 1 में भी पढ़े आपने, and section 94 supplemental proceeding में receiver आएगा, and section 51 CPC in execution. Now under section 69A TP Act, a special provision in respect of mortgages. So please bear in mind this provision when you are filing a suit or drafting a plain in the Bombay High Court City Civil Court. Small Causes Court has no power to entertain suits on mortgages. That provision you will see section 19 of the Presidency Small Cause Court Act. Please, Mansi, please open section 19. Section 19 of the Presidency Small Cause Court Act. 19. $18, $19 खोलिए, या 19 है मेरे ख्याल से. देखो, these are the suits not maintainable. Just see the mortgages. Mortgage suit भी है इसके अंदर. Just kindly roll it up. The recovery of your property, then come up partition also cannot maintainable. Suit of the F, foreclosure, redemption, mortgages. That means you will have to go in the city of Bombay to the Bombay High Court City Civil Court, depending upon the evaluation. In a district area, district court, civil judge, senior division, junior division, maybe, probably, I think you district court mein, district officer. So city of Bombay, even if you're a tenant, your landlord, your mortgage, your property to tenant, you cannot go and say that, yeah, there's a mortgage, I want to release it. You have to go to civil court. So come to quickly, I will take to the provisions of order 34. Mind you know that only city civil court and Bombay High Court have jurisdiction in the city of Bombay to entertain the mortgage suits, except the banking suit which go to the DRT. You have taken a loan from the bank, you don't have to, you can come to High Court up to 10 lakh rupees. After 10 lakh, you have to go to DRT, Debt Recovery Tribunal, under the provisions of Securitization and Debt Recovery Act. That the tribunal set up by the central government. Now, Order 34 contemplates these two types of suits. That is, you will also find an expression called a preliminary decree here, when we learned here. Order 34 के अंदर देखिए, you can file a mortgage suit for principal amount and cost. Now, under Order 34, parties suit for foreclosure and redemption. Then number 2, preliminary decree. In a matter, suppose you are going before the court of law, my property has been mortgaged to the defendant. I am returning back the property. He is not returning back my property back. The document, he should give it back to me. So if the defendant has become dishonest, say that the value of the property is gone more, you pay me more money, he cannot blackmail you. Here, you can only charge, you can only receive the principal amount along with the interest. If he doesn't return, the mortgager, the owner of the property, can move the city civil court, high court, depending upon the valuation, file a suit under the provisions of Order 33, Order 34, substantive provision in the Transfer of Property Act, Section 60, where it is mentioned for redemption. Your prayer will be that here, that this honorable court be pleased to order and decree the defendant to redeem the property, namely hand over quite vacant peaceful possession, and the plaintiff be permitted to deposit in the court the mortgage amount along with the interest which is done. No sooner the amount is deposited, the court will pass a preliminary decree in the matter. See that here, that you will find it here, the provision, sub rule 2, preliminary decree in foreclosure suit or a mortgage suit. When direct the parties, accounts are taken here. So vice versa. Similarly, in the case where the mortgagee makes a request to the mortgager that I want my money back. You took the loan for 10 years. Now the 11th year started and there is no sign of you returning the money back. I want my money back. I want to invest in a business. Please take back your property. If it doesn't do that, you can file a suit for foreclosure under the provisions of Order 34, Rule 1, 2, where the court can pass a final decree in sub rule 3, Order 34, Rule 3. This is all important. Then preliminary decree is passed under 7. See, Order 34, Rule 7, preliminary decree in redemption suit. Now, preliminary decree is a decree within the meaning of Section 2.2 of the CPC. We learned. It is not an interlocutory order. It's more or less final order. It's an appealable order under Section 96.
So 9 minutes are left.
Yes, 9 minutes. So I'm just covering here. Another 2 minutes I will take it here. Then please see that here, final decree is passed under Order 34, Rule 8. In the same plane, you make this provision because you will learn that under Order 2, Rule 2 frame, you cannot bifurcate the cause of action. You cannot relinquish your remedy. So in the same suit, your prayer is for redemption or foreclosure, preliminary decree, mean profit, damages, injunction, receiver bhi usme mangenge aap. That this honorable court be pleased to appoint a court receiver under the provisions of Order 40, Rule 1 CPC, read with Section 69A TP Act, with a direction to the court receiver to take possession of the property in possession of the mortgagee defendant and exercise all powers. That is the provision. Okay, then that is so. The 38 rule, the final decree is passed in that regard. Then payment of interest and also is ordered. Sale takes place here under Rule 12. Under Rule 12, so that here. Then finally, deposit of title deeds take place. So when a final decree is passed, execution proceeding will start under Order 21 CPC. Under Order 21 CPC, there is a provision for sale and attachment. Then I will tell you that here, that sale provision Order 21, just see, Mansi, which provision for sale under order 21. Generally, I'll just point out quickly here. Order 21, Rule 77, agricultural product here, transfer of immovable property, time for funeral payment, default is concerned. Then sales starting from order 21, Rule 82. So when I take execution topic, I will deal with the sale aspect, where a separate application can be filed. When suit cannot be filed, the court determines the question. Okay. Now these are all the procedure. Now anybody has any question on all the topics which we discussed, please come quickly. So we have got only 4 or 5 minutes. So I'll answer the question. Anybody has any question? And
Ashish
Madam,
here.
yes, Ashish, boliye.
So how much valid is the stature of the advocate representing you in High Court and Supreme Court? Like you get to know that if there are certain lawyers and you hire those lawyers, then you will get you'll have a better chance of a favorable judgment. Is that just all nonsense, or is there some truth to it?
See, the moment you come to the court of law, you will be watching lawyers contesting the matter. There's a general reputation of some lawyers who are very good. Nowadays, when you open the Google, खोलेंगे तो आप lawyers के नाम मिल जाएंगे. Even if you open the Google, put my name, the cases I have fought, you come to know. So it is open and shut case now. Nobody can be duped. Litigants are smart these days. People watch you in the TV, people watch you in the Google and the newspaper में पढ़ते हैं, and also come to the court of law. A general opinion of good lawyer is good. See, all advocates are supposed to be lawyers, are supposed to know the law. So I would not like to take a general take in that regard. Yes, you have to come to know. You come to know. See, how a doctor is good, you come to know from various patients. The other litigants will tell you, so-and-so lawyer is good. Yes. There's a general question.
But sir, is the judge influenced by the face value of a lawyer?
Certainly not. Certainly not. That is absolutely erroneous. Judges will see only good presentation from a lawyer and good law. So remove this from your mind. Judges are influenced? No. In our system, I am appearing in the court of law for the last more than 35 years. Judges are by and large very good to you. Even junior lawyers, they are very good to you. They assist. They are only influenced by your presentation, how good you are. They are not influenced. They are not respecter of any face law. That is a wrong question. That is some people mischievously create this kind of picture in judiciary with vested interest. One group of lawyer, maybe litigant, they have an interest. Arey, you engage so and so. There are unscrupulous activities going on. In my opinion, nothing like this. Even if a young lawyer or a student to appear before the court of law, judges are by and large very impartial. So I don't. Yes. I expect Professor Kavita Madam to, my next lecture will be from Friday on 8:00 p.m. I requested Madam, please appear 8 o'clock, subject to what Madam said. Kavita Madam, 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will make arrangement. I will take help of students, sir.
And also request Mansi to be there. And when you are, in case you are not available, interest the matter with a student along with Mansi, and who is a experienced person in that paper. Anybody has any? Hopefully, I made myself clear for this. All types of suits are more or less we are covered, and we have move on to next topic. Maybe section 10, stay of the suit, res judicata, foreign judgment. वो सब लेंगे next lecture में. I will take it depending upon how we go in a sequence of order. I'm sure all of you understood the lecture. Any doubt? Quickly ask me. I'm here to answer.
Sir, regarding the fees exemption to the woman, is it only restricted to matrimonial cases and domestic violence?
Yes, some of these that you will find.
Fundamental rights. Then fundamental rights.
Yes, fundamental. If you are an indigent person, you are exempted in everywhere. If you are an indigent person, they are exempted. गरीब आदमी को हर जगह माफ है. You have to invoke the provisions of Order 33. Okay, there is a government circular. There is a under the Bombay Court Fees Act. There is उसमें exemption clauses a category. Even the Bombay Court Fees Act में under what instrument you are not liable to pay. That is called, even in the Societies Act, maybe societies are not liable to pay certain fees. Every legislation contains this. The Stamp Act contains it. Bombay Court Fees Act contain this. They are all the provisions with regard to exemption. Okay. Anything else, madam? Anybody has any question?
So, Dr. Sandeep, this also one quick question, sir.
Yes.
So, sir,
Yeah,
where
boliye.
does the Bombay City Civil Code, where does it fit in the hierarchy of civil courts? So it's not a district court, right, sir?
It is not a district court. It is in the category of civil just senior division.
Okay.
It will fit in the category civil just senior divisions. Okay. And the principal judge is a district judge. Small causes court chief judge is a district judge, and other judges are either a civil judges junior division or senior division. In the small causes court, those who are senior judges are senior division, junior judges are the junior division. On the city civil court, judges are all civil judge senior divisions. Okay. And only Bombay High Court is a district court within the meaning of section 2 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Anybody has any question? Okay, thank you. My pleasure. Have a good day, all of you. And any question, we have still time. Please quickly ask me. Mansi, I hope everything is clear today. Huh?
Yes.
And the student who asked me a question with regard to immunity, please note it it's a Vienna Convention and not a Geneva Convention. It was a slip of tongue on my part. I checked it up recently. The Vienna is situated in Austria. That is a convention which grants immunity to all the diplomats. The famous case of our Divyani Kopragade, please go through it, is there in the net. Huh? It's a very interesting case, and also High Commission Thapper's case of Australia when he had a matrimonial dispute with his wife, and they were arrested by the Australian police, and the Indian government made a protest saying that they enjoy diplomatic immunity. And recently the Saudi Arabian government also, where there was some dispute with regard to the diplomatic immunity, how they were invoked. So Divyani Kopragade's case is an interesting case. You see that here how the American government acted unfairly, despite the fact that she is a diplomat. They arrested her. They asked her to go strip test, which is unfortunate. Then the matter was settled when she was elevated to the UN.